Welcome, everybody, to another episode of the Third Hour of Power. This is Grady of This Mormon Life, and once again, I am visited by Deidre Emme. Deidre, thanks for joining us today.
Yeah, thanks for having me back.
Yeah, I was so excited. So, Deidre's first time on the podcast, we had over 5,000 downloads of that episode, our biggest ever. So, I figured it made sense to bring her back, and I'm so glad she took the time out today to join us.
Yeah, my pleasure.
So this week we are learning about Chapter 6 in the Ezra Taft Benson Manual. On the Third Hour Power, just if this is your first time joining us, we talk about the lessons from the Ezra Taft Benson Manual during the Third Hour of Church. This week, Chapter 6 talks about Jesus Christ, our Savior and Redeemer. And it's great because we're coming up right now on Easter week. We're starting kind of in our family the Passion Week readings and things like that. And so I'm excited that this was the lesson that coincided with us recording today. And then Deidre, why don't you lead out the lesson today? We're going to mix it up a bit.
Okay. Yeah, so, this is a lot for one chapter, I feel like. Talking about Jesus Christ in just one chapter, because there's so much to it and to him. But my favorite part of the whole chapter is the fourth section when it talks about faith in Jesus Christ and how it talks about how faith in Jesus Christ is relying on him and following his teachings completely. And I feel like a lot of times in our life, we have faith when things are going well, and we have faith when, we're in a good place. But that's something that I love about Jesus Christ, is that we need to have faith in him, and he expects us to have that all the time, because when we are going through hard times, the faith is what helps us get to the good times. And when we're having the good times, we keep the faith because it will keep us in the right direction.
Yeah, we talked about this Sunday just about the blessings of faith in Jesus Christ and the way that it helps us. One of the things that we referenced was in the Book of Mormon, when the people of Alma that had escaped and they were put into bondage, and how they prayed. They were having a hard time going through that, and they prayed for help. They'd already been faithful, but now they're praying for help now in their need, and that it was through the atonement of Jesus Christ that they were able to have their burdens lifted. Not that they were removed, but they were able to get through it so that they can get then to the good times, have that strength, so that when the time came, the guards fell asleep and they were able to escape back to freedom and back to those good times again.
Yeah, and I think that's something that's so crazy about faith and putting everything in Jesus Christ and everything he did, is it's really easy to forget, even though there are so many times that you can look back in your life and be like, I'm so grateful for this, and God's handles in this, and there's so many times in your life when you have that faith and you believe and trust everything that's going on. But then there's always going to be those times when you just kind of put it in the back of your mind. This chapter and this section was a good reminder to me that it always needs to be at the front of my mind, rather than, just depending on what I'm going through, putting it into the place that I want it to be in almost.
Well, it's interesting. I sing in a choir, in the Millennial Choir, and it's kind of the beard here is part of our upcoming concert. We're going to be singing Mendelssohn's Elijah, and the chorus is basically represents the children of Israel. And through this oratorio, the children of Israel kind of just go back and forth between, we want to follow God, we want to follow Baal, we want to follow God again, we want to follow Baal, and they just go back and forth over and over again. And so it's just one of those things it's really an allegory for our own lives, is that we do the same thing, maybe not to the same degree that we're worshiping, false gods, but there are things in our life that, we come in and out of full faith in Jesus Christ. And it's nice that there are times that kind of remind us of him. I think even though a lot of biblical scholars think that Jesus Christ was born in the spring, I kind of like that we have Christmas a few months apart, only because it's nice to have a separate time to celebrate the birth and a separate time to celebrate his death and resurrection. And the video series that the church just put out, the newest one about he is here, is really powerful. I really like it. It just came out yesterday. In section 2 of the lesson, it says that Jesus Christ came forth from the tomb, and he lives today as a resurrected being. When after his death, the women Mary and some of the other women, they went to the tomb, and I love when they see the angel and they say, where have you laid our Lord? Where is he? And it says here that angels appeared and said simply, "Why seek ye the living among the dead? He is not here, but he is risen." Nothing in history equals that dramatic announcement. He is not here, but he is risen. And in the church video, it takes it one step further, because it's not that he's not in the tomb is what's important. What's important is where he is. And in the video, it talks about all these situations in our lives, the good times, the bad times, the in-betweens, that the message is over and over again is that he is here. He's not there. He's not far away. He's not a distant God, but he is with us, and that he sends us his Spirit to be with us so that we can feel close to him, and that he can bless us and nourish us and give us the things that we need, whether it's, in the good times or, and help us to really relish that experience, or in the bad times to help us to get through it. And I just love that wording that they really use there. I think it's really intentional.
Yeah, I really appreciate that there's been a lot of focus lately on that he lives, especially with it being Easter. And, everyone always talks about the crucifixion and him not being here, but he is here, and he's here through everything that you go through. And that is one of my favorite parts about Easter, is just that there's the reminder that he's here always.
Yeah, and that, what that means for us. What else did in the lesson stood out to you?
I mean, there's so many things. I'm trying to think of what else that I really loved. There's also a section that talks about being valiant in our testimony. And it says, "A most priceless blessing available to every member of the church is a testimony of the divinity of Jesus Christ and his church." And I think that is something that is so true. Today in Sunday school, I was talking to my kids about testimonies and how we can build our testimony, and how yours is so individual, but it's something that, all of the different members have, and we're willing to share, and we can learn from other people's testimonies. So while I have my testimony, and that's a great gift, I can also learn from your testimony, and I can learn from the apostles' testimony, and I can learn from the high schoolers that I teach Sunday school to. I can learn from their testimony, and that is a huge gift, that we can have that own strength and knowledge, but we can also learn from each other's.
Yeah, and especially when we have different strengths in testimony. Maybe we have a stronger testimony in certain aspects of the gospel, while others have a more strength in a different one. And we can say, maybe I struggle with fasting. Maybe I don't have a strong testimony in fasting, but here's someone bearing their testimony of an experience that they had that was miraculous, and I can gain strength from that. And I can say, I need to work harder to have those kinds of experiences to build my testimony.
Yeah, exactly.
I liked in that last section there, section 5, the idea of being like Jesus, which I think is one of the reasons that he came, is to set the example for us of how we should be living our lives. It says in section 5, the heading is that we are most blessed and joyful when we strive to be like Jesus. I like here it talks about in Acts, Paul, one of the questions he asked is, "Lord, what wilt thou have me do?" And it says that we need more men and women of Christ who will always remember him, who will keep his commands which he has given them, which is the sacrament covenant that we make, or that we renew. The greatest yardstick of success is to see how closely we can walk each moment in his steps. When I think about Jesus Christ and the life that he lived, it's something of kindness and caring. I love the stories of Christ when he, visits the sick and heals those that are in need, and just seeing the love that he had when he went and visited the Nephites is probably the one of the most remarkable ones, because it's 3 years of ministry all in a few days. And I love when he is there and he's getting ready to leave, and he sees the people, and they have tears in their eyes, and he perceives that they desire for him to stay, and that they desire to see the miracles that happened in Israel. And so he says that his bowels are filled with compassion, or with mercy, and so he brings everyone who's sick and lame and heals them. That he loves them so much that that's what he wants to give them. And it's the same thing with us. He loves us so much that he wants to bless us.
Yeah, that's a very, I feel like the number one attribute of Jesus Christ that everyone mentions is his charitable nature, and that he shows his love to everyone. And I think that is something that everyone can strive for. Even if you're already the nicest person, you can strive to be more in that charitable mindset, because it's something that is fleeting.
Yeah, I love all the videos on the internet of people doing good stuff. It always I'm always in tears on the internet. I gotta stop. I always like if I'm working hard at work, I'll take a YouTube break and just like watch random videos, and I'll be at my desk. The other day, I grabbed tissues actually and started wiping my eyes because I'm like, no one can see me crying right now. I think this probably wraps up this lesson. But Deidre, if in case someone didn't catch the other episodes that you were in, can you tell us just a little bit about you and what you have going on right now on the internet?
Yeah, so I have my blog Deidre Emme that I do a lot of life and style. A lot of people say lifestyle, but I like to say I do both because I do a little fashion here and there. But right now, a lot of it is geared towards baseball because my husband is at spring training right now. And so we're talking a lot of baseball and spring training and all of that. So I have that going on. And then also I do a lot of stuff with the Miss Idaho organization. So I have all of my PR stuff over there with them on the internet. And that's pretty much what I'm up to. Just, my blog and my job and watching baseball.
Well, Deidre, thank you so much for joining us. And for all of you listening, thank you so much for listening this week. This episode got out probably a little bit later. You might have already had this lesson. That's okay. You will be well blessed for listening anyways. And we're excited for all you guys do. If you find value in this, make sure you share it with other people and comment on YouTube, on iTunes, wherever you listen. And also visit our benefactors, This Week in Mormons. They also do podcasts similar to ours, and they really help us to put this thing together. And until next time, on behalf of Deidre, my name is Grady. And until next time, we bid you all a fond adieu.